Hi everyone, welcome to episode 4 of the Shack series. I'm just waiting for Ariarne Titmus to get on, and she's just joined now. So just get her on. Hi Arnie.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, good, good. How are you?
Pretty good. Just finished training, so hence the
Yeah,
wet hair.
yeah. How was it?
It was pretty tough this morning, but we had suited swims, so it's good to finally get back into the groove of things and do some tough training. And I think everyone's starting to feel pretty good in the water again.
Yep, yep. Sounds good. Well, thanks for coming on. We've got a few questions here from our followers. Um, that we'd like you to answer, if that's all right.
hmm
So we'll kick it off first with when did you start swimming, and what were your honest thoughts about it?
So, well, first of all, I started swimming like most people when I was a baby. But then I started swimming in a squad when I was 7, and I started racing then. And I loved it. I mean, I started swimming in a squad just because I always loved the water. I was never scared of it, and I've always had pools at my homes growing up. So then when I first started training, all I can remember is loving it. And I haven't really thought of a point during my swimming career where I haven't enjoyed swimming. So I think that's why I'm still going.
Nice, nice. So question on racing here. What do you do just before a race? So do you have a specific routine that you follow every time, or like run us through what you do just before a big race?
So before every big race, as most swimmers would know, we do a dry land warm up and get our body ready, our shoulders warm, that type of thing, and then we do our in the pool warm up, which I start a bit over an hour before I race, and then after that, I pretty much just go through the same routine of putting my suit on and make sure I have all my stuff. But I'm not really someone who's super superstitious and has to do a certain thing before every race. I mean, on the blocks, I twinkle my fingers and I splash myself 5 times on the right hand side of the block before every race. But I'm not pedantic with certain things I do before I race, which I think is good because sometimes if you can't do that, you're not going to freak out about it.
Yeah, yeah. So you mentioned you splash yourself 5 times. Are you superstitious?
Yeah, a little bit in the sense of like small things like that, not huge things, but little things like splashing myself. And I always have my nails done when I race, so then I like twinkle them on the blocks and look at them before I race, which is something that I just always do now.
Yeah. What inspires you to keep going even when your friends aren't doing so well? When your friends are doing so well and you aren't. So it's been probably a while since you haven't performed well. So let's just pretend that it's school Arnie and you're not going that well.
Well, sometimes I think seeing your friends doing so well can be a good thing to keep you going because you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, for me, I never really worried about what other people were doing in their swimming. So if I was having a bit of a bad patch, I just tried to focus on my journey and trying to get back on track. And I think not worrying too much about other people and where they are in their swimming career is a really good option because you can get distracted by them and compare yourself, which everyone's different, so you can't really compare yourself. So I think that's the best way to look at it. But if
Yeah,
anything, if you're going to compare yourself, just use them as a driving force to try and motivate you to get to where they are.
yeah. Have you always loved the sport, and is it normal to feel to not feel motivated all the time?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've always loved swimming. That's the main reason why I do it. Obviously, getting to represent Australia and travel and win medals is all great, but at the baseline, if you don't love it, then it's pretty tough sport to do. So I've always loved it, and there are days where it's tough and you sometimes don't want to go to training, but that's just all part of life as an athlete. Not everything's smooth sailing. So I think just, have those moments and then move on and get back to training. It's definitely normal to go through rough patches.
Yeah. What inspired you to keep swimming and to be determined? So I guess that's a follow-off of last question.
Well, yeah, well, definitely because I love it. But then also when I started to get older and started to make teams and do great things with the sport, it just made me want to experience that more and more. And it's kind of like when you're on the international stage competing, you can't really feel that feeling anywhere else. So it's just kind of, I think you get addicted to it and you just want to feel that more and more. And I don't know, winning is such a great feeling, and to do it at the highest level is so feels so great. So I think a lot of athletes would admit that they do their sport because they love winning, and that's what drives them to keep going at the end of the day.
Yeah. Do you have a celebrity crush?
Yes, sadly I do. I'm a mad Shawn Mendes fan. I love Shawn.
And a follow-up question. So you got to kiss one, you got to marry one, you got to shoot one. Justin Bieber, Rafael Nadal, Shawn Mendes.
The three loves of my life. I would definitely marry Shawn. Definitely marry Shawn. I'm a bit past Bieber. I'll shoot Bieber and then I'll kiss Rafa. That would just be good to tell people.
Are you a good dancer? And can you please show me? So that wasn't from me. That was from someone else.
Yeah. I'm shocking dancer. I'm not showing you. I'm so bad.
Okay, well, we tried.
No, well,
what is your favorite meal? Huh?
You've seen me dance. It's terrible.
Have I?
Yes.
What is your favorite meal to cook and eat? So separate. So what's your favorite one to cook? And what's your favorite food to eat?
Well, I think at the moment, because everyone's trying to get back on track with their body comp after having a huge break. At the moment, I can't really explore too much into fancy foods at the moment. I did in my break, but not now. So at the moment, I'm really enjoying eating. I think yogurt and fruit and granola is just like a huge staple in any athlete's life. So I would enjoy that any meal. And then I love to cook. I don't know. I like exploring and trying new things, but definitely I prefer cooking desserts, and I think making tricky desserts like I think it took me a while to nail like a pavlova or things that take like precision to make and perfect measurements is something that I enjoy to do, but then obviously can't do that. Otherwise I'm going to blow out a little bit if I eat desserts all day. But in terms of just everyday cooking, I love doing stuff in the pressure cooker. So things that would usually take 6 hours in the oven, I can do in the pressure cooker in about 40 minutes. And it would you just put this meat in there and it would just like fall off the bone, and that's really yummy.
Yeah. So what is your favorite junk food?
This is very easy for me. I'm a massive chocoholic. Chocolate is my favorite cheat food.
Yeah. Same. What is the hardest set that you've ever done?
The hardest set that I've ever done. I mean, it's hard because, as you would know, all our sessions are very tough. But I think the toughest one that I've had to do, and there's a difference between when you're feeling great at training and then when you're feeling terrible and you have to keep pushing through the session. Any session you do when you're feeling terrible is the hardest set you've ever done. But I think the hardest one to date that I can remember that's pretty tough is this session that I've done, and it's 300 and I've got to be under 325 into 100 max. and we do that 8 rounds, and then we do some, I think at the end of that, we'd either just do 450s best average, or sometimes we do 20 50s as one 200 pace, one easy, and then the 450s best average at the end. And
Yeah.
that's a huge session to get through. I mean, just the 300s and the hundreds is tough, because after 100 max, the last thing you want to do is to push off straight into a 300 that's not recovery really. So that's definitely a tough one, but they're good ones to do when you're trying to be a 400 swimmer.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess that's why you're so good. Do you have a favorite swimming set? So, I mean, you can say recovery if you want, but if you've got a specific one in mind, what would it be?
So as a distance swimmer, anytime we get to do sprints, it's such a novelty. So I love the sprint training, because for me, I find it fun. I don't find doing 25s and 50s too challenging. But then in terms of a set that I really try to push myself on, and it gives me a great gauge of where I'm at in the season, is this session, and it's 150-50. So we do that 8 rounds. So we go 150, and then I try to be around 130, 131, and then 50 max, and we do that 8 rounds. And it's pretty tough. It doesn't sound too long, but it pinches. And I think when you're feeling good and you're on and you can swim really fast times, it makes you feel really good after the session.
Yeah. What advice would you give a young swimmer wanting to achieve what you have?
I mean, I feel like I'm pretty relatable to younger swimmers, because I've just gone through high school. I mean, I graduated nearly 3 years ago. So I had to juggle swimming with school, and that was really tough. I mean, the year of the Com Games and Pan Pacs and World Short Course, I was finishing year 12. So I think the biggest thing that kind of helped me succeed that year was great time management and prioritizing things in my life. I mean, I might have all at one time an assignment due, really important training, plus having to recover, or I don't know, do things like this and things to my sponsors, and trying to fit it all in is really tough. So I think being super organized helps you fit everything in, but then also gives you a clearer mind when you're trying to complete those tasks. And it means that at training, I wasn't stressing about school, and I could focus exactly on what I was doing at training. And I think that's really important. So definitely as an athlete, even outside school, time management's huge. But while you're finishing school, I think that's the big one. But then also just doing your best. I think rocking up to training and not putting in 100% is just pointless, and you're going to get nothing out of it. So if you're not trying, and swimming's a tough slog to go through if you're not trying. So just do your best and enjoy it, and that should get you a long way.
Yep. We've got a question just down here. What is it like doing 2 years of year 12? Was there ever a time that you thought of quitting?
I think it
so
was...
thanks, Sky S. Pockley, for writing that first. Sorry to cut you off on.
That's right. I think at the time it was definitely the only choice I had. I did year 11 and 12 over 3 years. So I did part-time year 11, and then the second year was half year 11 subjects, half year 12 subjects, and then the third year was my last 3 year 12 subjects. And I honestly couldn't have fit it all in if I didn't do it. There were times where I thought, like, oh geez, I saw all my friends graduating and I had to stay back a year and finish a year older than everyone in my grade, and that was hard at the time. But by the time I finished school, I was hardly going to school. Swimming had completely taken over my life. And that year I finished with a world record. So school kind of became in the back of my mind. I'm so lucky that at St. Peter's, where I went to school, they completely supported my swimming, and all my teachers understood my circumstances. And definitely when I had to travel a lot, I mean, my last year of school, I was away from school, I think, for about 18 weeks. I couldn't have fit it all in doing full-time school. So really part-time was the only option, and no regrets, because I don't think I could have maximized my training if I had have done normal school, because I wouldn't have had the time to go home and rest, or I wouldn't have had the time to fit in the study that I had to. So I think it was the best decision.
Yeah. Now this next one's from me. So for the grassroots swimmers, generally when they look up to someone who is a high profile athlete, they would think they still don't get nervous before a big meet. So in saying that, do you still get nervous, and how do you deal with nerves?
I definitely get nervous. I think when you think about it, for a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old going to age nationals, that's the pinnacle of their swimming at that time. So for me, when I was their age, going to age nationals was the pinnacle, and I was just as nervous at nationals than I am now going to world championships, because it's all relative. Now, worlds is my, or Olympics is the biggest thing that I go to. And for me, I've never struggled with dealing with my nerves, but I've definitely always been nervous. And I think being nervous is a good thing, because it shows you that your body's getting ready to race, your body's getting ready to stand up, it's getting the blood going. And I think if you don't feel nervous before a race, then it obviously means that the event's not important to you. I think sometimes if I have a big race coming up and I don't feel that nervous, I make myself feel nervous, because I feel like having a bit of nerves and getting the juices flowing helps you swim better. I think if you're struggling with being over nervous, just think about your life and, you know, what perspective you have. And this swimming race isn't the be all and end all. If you have a bad race, it's okay. You can race again, go back to training, work on it. Um, it's not a scary thing. It's fun. You swim because you love it. You swim because you love racing. So I think the most important thing when you get too nervous is just remember to enjoy it.
Yeah. If you didn't swim, what sport do you think that you would do? And would you also be world champion in that sport?
I'll definitely do tennis just to meet Rafa on the
Yep.
circuit. But and also because they earn a lot more money than swimmers. But I would suck at tennis. I have no hand-eye coordination. But I don't know. I just think being a tennis player would be cool. They get to the girls get to wear cool outfits. And I think tennis is watched by lots of people around the world. So yeah, I would love to be a tennis player if I could, but I would be terrible.
Favorite exercise in the gym?
Uh, I mean, as much as I don't enjoy them when they're tough and they're tough in gym, I think chin-ups as a swimmer is probably one of the most staple exercises. They're pretty much in our gym program every time we're in gym. And I think it's something that maybe some people are just naturally gifted at doing, or you can really teach yourself to become great at chin-ups. And for me, I really worked hard at getting my chin-ups better, and I think seeing my progression has been something that I'm really proud of. So I think definitely chin-ups.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have any regrets in your swimming career? And what would you do different if you did?
Um, I don't have any regrets. I mean, any time that I might have been a bit off the ball, or just in a phase where I wasn't completely focused, I've learnt from that. Um, so I don't think I would do anything differently, really. I think through life, things happen that helps you learn. So, I don't know, situations where I might have been not completely on track have taught me things to better my swimming.
Kevin Loy Extra said, how is everything going?
Thanks, Kevin. Everything's great. Got the weekend off now.
It's the best part of a training week is the weekend. Oh, what a coincidence. Next question. What do you like to do in your downtime?
My downtime, well, I love cooking. Most people know that. So I'll definitely be cooking this weekend, a couple of times. But then also, I love just catching up with my friends, but not too hectic. Just, maybe getting brekkie, or just doing nothing, just having a chat. I mean, as swimmers, we're pretty tired, and we don't really get the opportunity to party as such. So we enjoy our company in different ways, and yeah, I really enjoy that.
Favorite Speedo product?
Definitely their snorkel. There's this snorkel that I've got. I think it's from the Speedo USA range, and it's so good. A lot of snorkels, like when you turn, it moves like this, but this snorkel that I have doesn't move at all, and I love it. And I wear and wear and wear it. I think I've gone through 5 because I bite the teeth thing off.
Yeah, they're gonna have to come out with just separate nose pieces, so Arnie, you can just fix it on the spot.
Yeah, I
Um,
know.
well, I think you've answered my last question because that was going to be, what is your favorite Speedo training accessory? So, well,
Yeah.
you're just gonna have to pick a number 2 right now. What would your second one be?
Uh, Maybe the finger paddles. I think for me, I never ever wore paddles up until I started training with Dean, and it's just something that I never did. And then I think that their finger paddles are a great progression if you're starting to wear paddles because the load's not too heavy on your shoulders, and you can still rate quite quickly with the small paddles. And then they're a good progression up to bigger paddles, which I'm starting to get into bigger paddles now. But finger paddles, I think, are such a staple for swimming, sprinting, pool. I think that it's good to have on hand.
Yeah, I'm just going to go these last 2 questions here from um, Josh Davis is pretty neat. That's a
Oh,
pretty cool name, Josh. Are you going to beat Katie Ledecky?
well, I'll try my best. I mean, you can't predict anything. She's going to be training her butt off as well for the Olympics next year. So I think it will just be a good race. Obviously, everyone wants to win. She's going to be tough to beat again, but we'll see.
Yeah. And last one, our swims and more. What
Hmm.
point at your swimming that you decide to move from Tasmania to Queensland? So, um, was there a specific point? So, had you achieved, this is what they mean. Had you achieved
Yeah.
a certain level that you were thinking, I need to really step up my swimming game if I want to get to that next level?
Yeah, well, I remember in Tassie, when I was about 12, 13, my previous coach that I was with before Dean moved down there to coach me, Peter Gartrell, and he specializes in middle distance freestyle. And so with him, I really started to pick up my pace, in swimming in those distances. So I went to age nationals and I came away with gold in the 200, 400, and 800, and then made my first team for Junior Worlds to go to Singapore when I was 14. And at that point, I was pretty much training by myself in Tassie. A lot of people down there swim socially, or the standards just not really where it is in Queensland. I mean, at the squad that I train in with you, everyone there is there to achieve. No one's there just plodding along there for no reason. Everyone's there for with a purpose. And down there was just really no purpose at training anymore, and it was hard. Like it's down there because not many people reach this level. You cop a bit of jealousy sometimes, and I had to deal with that, and it was hard. So and then also at the time, Peter decided to move back to Queensland. So I thought, well, I've got really no other choice but to move back to Queensland. So with him, so I'm super lucky that my parents were really willing to pack everything up, move up here, leave their jobs, change everything. And then once I moved up here, it kind of all clicked into gear. I went to Junior Worlds, and then the following year, I moved across to Dean, and I made teams. I made my first senior team, and it's kind of just been great since then. But yeah, I was 14, turning 15 when I moved up.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for coming on, Arnie, and answering our questions. Hope
All
you
right.
enjoy the rest of your weekends.
You too.
Yeah, and I'll see you at training Monday. So,
See ya. Have a great weekend. Thanks for the
all
questions.
right. See ya.
Bye.
All right. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. glad that I could get around to all your questions and stuff. Thanks for sending them in, and wait till next week on Saturday, I believe. We'll have our next special guest on. So pretty exciting. We got a few lined up. So we hope you enjoy. Have a good weekend. See ya.